On March 4th, 2022, at around 9 p.m. after putting their 3 kids to bed, Corey Richins entered the kitchen of their home and took 2 glasses out from the cabinet. Then she took a bottle of vodka from the drinks cabinet and poured a double measure over the ice cubes. Then she topped the glasses up with some cold ginger beer and a squeeze of fresh lime juice from the fridge. She had just made 2 cocktails known as Moscow Mules. She gave each glass a stir and took them into the living room where her husband, Eric, was waiting for her. Corey passed the glass in her right hand to Eric. They clinked glasses and made a celebratory toast, because Corey had just closed on the purchase of a $2 million mansion that, once renovated, could be sold for 2 or even 3 times what she'd paid for it. And this was absolutely a cause for celebration. The couple finished their drinks and headed to the bedroom to get ready for bed. Once they'd had a wash, brushed their teeth and changed into their nightclothes, they turned out the light and climbed into bed. Corey climbed into bed, pulled the blanket up over her shoulders and placed her hand on her husband's arm, expecting to feel his warmth. But his arm wasn't warm, it was cold, freezing cold. Corey jolted up in bed and frantically called her husband's name, trying to wake him. She shook him, but there was no response whatsoever. When the paramedics arrived, they rushed into the master bedroom, where they found Eric lying cold and still in the middle of the bed whilst Corey was performing CPR. They did absolutely everything they could to help him, but it was no use. Eric Richins was pronounced dead at the scene. May 8th, 2023, more than a year after Eric's death, investigators from the Summit County Sheriff's Office showed up to take Corey into custody, just as the whole world was starting to see her as this grieving mother who wrote that children's book. The arrest happened because O'Driscoll finally had all of his ducks in a row. He had the toxicology report showing the massive amount of fentanyl in Eric's system, the digital evidence from her phone, and the testimony from Carmen Lorber about the pill deals. This was the moment the grieving widow persona she'd been playing on TV finally hit the brick wall. She was arrested and charged with the murder of Eric Richins. So the trial finally kicked off earlier this year, and if you're watching this at some point in the future, this is 2026, and it was every bit the circus you'd expect. So from the very start, the prosecution painted Corey as a black widow who was drowning in debt and was basically looking for a multi-million-dollar exit strategy. They laid out the whole timeline: the secret life insurance, the forged signatures, and those incriminating Google searches. The star witness was definitely Carmen Lorber. She took the stand and walked everyone through those 4 drug deals, including the chilling moments Corey asked for the Michael Jackson stuff. By the time the closing arguments wrapped up, the jury really didn't need much time to think it over. They deliberated for less than 3 hours before coming back with a guilty verdict on all counts, including aggravated murder and the attempted murder from that Valentine's Day sandwich. Corey is looking at 25 years to life, finally closing the book on a story that was supposed to be about a grieving widow, but ended up being about a cold-hearted bitch's betrayal.